Some time ago, I wrote a song about suicide. My producer loved it so much, and he encouraged me to release it, get a release date and the rest of those. I had some personal challenges that I didn't want to talk about because I felt maybe time could ease off those pains. Fast forward to last year, 2023, I also attempted writing a podcast on suicide. Somewhere along the line, I still had to draw the mark because I felt within me I hadn't completely gotten over myself and over some situations that actually weighed me down. But here is the bulk of the whole story. Everyone at some point in time gets into a season of their lives where things don't go easy. At some point, things are so hard. At some point, you make a very big mistake. At some point, you are responsible for what you're going through. At some point, some negativities cloud your mind. We all have seasons. Life is governed by seasons and times. What is the priority? Those seasons, if we are to say the truth and to stand by it, those seasons don't last forever. Inasmuch as we might be consumed, overtaken, overwhelmed, I would even add flabbergasted. Okay. Well, let me know. I'm not here to laugh. We're like, okay, all right, let's go ahead. So inasmuch as you might be so taken by the situation at hand, if we are to say the truth, listen to our hearts, the fact remains that those seasons don't last forever. There are times when we experience pain, and there are times when we experience joy. And the book of Ecclesiastes says it all, that there is time for everything. Everything, including times when you want to be out of a situation and you just can't. Everything, including that there are times you are in heavy problem and no one is just there to help you out. Every time, including times when you lose a loved one. Every time, including times when you be betrayed by a very good, trusted friend. Every time, including times when you also want to commit suicide. We all have seasons. And even as I'm making this podcast, I feel like giving it all, because emotionally I have been traumatized. Emotionally, I have gone through so much. Even things I made mistakes about, When we count what goes about, or rather what goes on in our lives every day, if we should recount what goes on in our ministries, if we should recount what goes on in our private lives, in our businesses, if we should recount how people treated us, if we should recount what we lost, you find that you definitely have the reason. You have every reason to walk away from life. That's the truth. You have a reason to just say, I'm over this. I'm done. But this message is a different one. I didn't come to talk about a lot of things, but I came to tell you something because I've been through it. I've gone through that valley and I know it will help you too. It will help you to be strong. It will help you to, stand by yourself, have yourself, love yourself, develop yourself, push yourself. Like I said before, there are times and seasons. And there are definitely times when you don't want to leave. Yeah, I've been there. I lost some money and lost some businesses. I lost so many things that later in life I'm going to talk about, but not now. But despite all that I lost, and despite all that I don't have, I remember one thing, that these too shall pass. The situation at hand, looking so bulky, looking so painful, I don't know how to describe it, but I knew that it would pass. Very soon it would pass, and I didn't care about a lot of things. I didn't care about people talking. I didn't care about what had gone wrong. I didn't care about the pains. I didn't care about them, but I had to remember something. In your silence, the truth is, no situation lasts forever. And I want you to remember this, that I am saying that no situation lasts forever. If you can only tell this truth to yourself and be reminded of it, no matter what, don't forget that no situation lasts forever. We've talked about a lot of people. We have a lot of, persons tell us how they started businesses, how they started life. We talk about, a lot of people, they had times and seasons too, and they ended up being who God designed for them to be. Because they understood that no situation lasts forever. This podcast wasn't meant to be a long one, because I wanted to talk to someone out there who wants to give up. I want to talk to someone out there who feels like it's over. Yes, you should feel that way. Remember, I'm not saying that feeling is wrong. The feeling is actually right. But where the feeling is wrong, where the feeling will go wrong is if you end it yourself. Because you shouldn't end the situation. The situation was meant, programmed by God to end by itself. We as humans, we're not programmed to end the situations ourselves. And most times, how do we end it? That's the question. Most times people end it by ending their lives. I want to talk to you. I want you to realize this. No matter what happened or what has happened, no matter what you don't even want to talk about, no matter what people see you as, that life itself doesn't see you as, no matter what people define you as, that you yourself know you better, no matter the situation, no matter what you've gotten yourself into, remember, that too shall pass. That also will become a history. If only, there's a condition, if only if you don't give up. Did you hear me? If you don't give up, then it will pass. But if you do give up, it stays with you. So which one do you prefer? Tell me. Which do you prefer? To give up and let the situation die with you? Or to live, to stay strong and have the situation pass away? When you stand, you definitely live to see another day. We've had situations where people came online, talked about ending their lives. People, even ended it before the news came online. A lot of people are going through a lot of things. That's the truth. But no matter what you go through, you are the priority. You are the most important being that has ever existed. You are the champion of your dreams. You are that hope that you really want to see. If you don't give up, then that situation will definitely pass. If you don't give up, that challenge will definitely pass away. I don't know how you feel about yourself. I don't know what you have done so far. I don't know what is going through your mind already. But I pray that this message gets to you before you make a decision. I pray that this message touches your heart. And this message is coming from someone who had been where you were or where you are right now. The message is coming from someone who also failed and might still fail. Okay? Because that's life. When you fall, you rise. The message is coming from someone who also had her own shares of life. I needed to realize something. The goal of the enemy is to ensure that you don't get to that point where you will be celebrated. The goal of the enemy is to make sure that you don't achieve your dreams. The goal of the enemy, the devil, is to make sure you don't fulfill your purpose. The goal of the enemy is to make sure you don't come to the point where you have to tell your story, because every story needs another story. Every negative story needs a positive story. Every negative story needs a corresponding positive story. So when you don't live to tell your positive story, that means you ended it. So the goal of the enemy is to ensure that you take your own life. And that is the reason why the name of this podcast is Do Not Contemplate Suicide. If you know what the devil knows, you will stay right there with you. Yes, you need to stay with yourself. If you know what the enemy knows about the bright future God has created for you, you stay right there. If you know what the enemy knows about your future, about your dreams, about your goals, though you don't have money, but God got your back. Though you don't have all it takes, God got your back. Let me tell you something. If you can only understand that the enemy is after what God is after in your life, you stay right there. And I need you to know that you need to stay right there. You need to stay right there. And why do you always forget that if you give up, it is over? God got your back. If you give up, it's over. He's giving us the decision, the right to make choices. He's giving us the opportunity to say, I want this enough. He can't force you to live for yourself. If you know what the enemy knows about what God knows about you, if you know what the enemy knows about the plans God has for you, if you know what the enemy knows about the prophecy over your head, if you know what the enemy knows about those dreams you've written down for the future, if you know what the enemy knows about your anointing, if you know what the enemy knows about your ministry, if you know what the enemy knows about your marriage, you stay right there. Bro, you need to stay right there. You hear me? Yeah, you need to stay right there. Sister, you need to stay right there. Because the paper you write your end story, or maybe the reason why you need to take your life for people to read gets to be torn away. In fact, within a short space of time, the ink will fade away. That is how life is. No one remembers you. But you came on a journey not to be just someone who existed. You came on a journey so you could make impact, so you could live life and not only go through it. Do not contemplate that suicide. Did you hear me? Do not, never, ever, never you ever dare, don't you ever think about taking your life again. Because the enemy works in a subtle dimension. He takes you through the journey of thinking about what you think about taking your life. And before you know it, you've bought the substance to take your life. Before you know it, it is done. Because you conceived the idea. Work on your mind. Like I said, the choice is yours. But if you let me choose for you, I would say don't give up. Stay right there. This too shall pass. God is going to do it. You're going to hit it big. You're going to come out of it. Live to see it happen. If you should let me choose for you, but I can't choose for you. I can't. I can only advise. I can only talk to you. I can only position my mind to plead to your conscience, to appeal to your conscience, to appeal to your mind, so you make the right decision. That's the aim of my podcast on Soul Inspired Network. That's the aim of my podcast. But the decision, the doggedness, the persistency, the consistency thereof lies in your hands. And I hope that this message gets to you in good faith, that you will realize that I need you to leave so I can be much better who I am today. Yes. And you need me too to leave so that you can be better, much better than you are now. It's a small word. I need you to survive and you need me to survive. Please don't end it all. Don't walk away from yourself. Because if you love yourself, you will stay for yourself. Thank you so much for taking a lot of time. I know this is already close to 18 minutes to listen to my podcast. I really appreciate you. And I pray that God is going to give us the grace to stand strong, to hold on to His words, forgetting the challenges around us, forgetting the state of our accounts. Yes, the bank accounts, most times they are the challenges. Yeah. So forgetting the problems around us, forgetting what can easily beset us. I pray that God is going to give us the ability to stay, the choice to stay. Thank you so much. See you on my next podcast. I love you. Yeah, I do.